Luis Cartagena, White Plains High School.
Few people in Section 1 knew much about Luis Cartagena before he transferred to White Plains from Yorktown 2 years ago. But he leaves as a 1,000-point scorer and the point guard who guided the program to the county center for the first time since 2007. But in early December, White Plains didn't know what they'd get this season from Cartagena. The senior point guard suffered a severely sprained ankle in the preseason, yet it didn't hold him back from shining for the Tigers this winter. The bond between Cartagena and CJ Lane gave White Plains one of the best 1-2 tandems in this section, and definitely the best handshake combo.
His favorite player is Russell Westbrook, so I try to get the OKC thing going with him. That's our thing.
Cartagena sure did his best Westbrook impression during the season. Averaging 20 points per game, he shot 42% from the field, nearly 40% from threes, and dished out 3 assists per game, leading White Plains to 13 victories and a berth at the county center for the Class AA semifinals. Like all great players, Cartagena was at his peak in the postseason. He scored 28 points in a road win over North Rockland, and then 28 more in an upset win over Spring Valley in the quarters. The win solidified his place among the top players to come from White Plains.
I mean, we want to go out for the bank senior year, and going to the county center to make a push means amazing.
While the Tigers fell to Fox Lane in the semifinals, Cartagena didn't make it easy. He put on a show in the biggest stage, including this three-pointer to pull White Plains within 2 points late in the fourth quarter. He would finish with a game-high 26 points before fouling out to the eventual Section 1 champs. Cartagena will continue his career at Trinity Pauling.
Robert McWilliams, Tappan Zee High School.
As a junior last season, Robert McWilliams was a scorer. As a senior, he became a leader. The 6'2" shooting guard shined in the spotlight this season for Tappan Zee, guiding the program to an 18-2 regular season, a #1 seed in the Class A tournament, and a berth in the sectional championship game.
McWilliams the steal and the lay-in for a cheap 2.
Perhaps no one played in a more crazy environment than TZ all season. With consistently big crowds and high-pressure situations, McWilliams had no problem delivering a big shot in the clutch moments. His basket, steal, and score in an overtime win at Albertus Magnus was typical of the intensity and ferociousness that McWilliams played with.
We came out real hard in the third, finished her out through overtime. It was a good team win.
McWilliams led the team with 18 points and 5 rebounds per game, despite constantly seeing double teams throughout the season. A 2-time all-section selection, McWilliams is a gifted perimeter shooter who expanded his game immensely this winter. While McWilliams already could deliver a dagger from anywhere on the three-point line, his ability to drive to the basket and create turned him into an elite playmaker. In TZ's biggest moments, McWilliams came to play. In the Class A quarterfinals against Harrison, the Dutchman trailed for the majority of the game until McWilliams drilled a three-pointer. He then followed it up with a typical McWilliams hustle play, getting the ball back and hitting a pull-up jumper. It was all part of the standard chaos at Tappan Zee.
I mean, it was unreal. And then I saw the crowd come on the floor. I looked at the scoreboard, so we won, and I was like, this is crazy, man. We're going back to the county center. I mean, it's a great feeling. Can't wait to be there.
He followed that up with a 16-point, 6-rebound performance in a semifinal win over Nanuet at the county center.
Count it, and the foul.
Noah Morgan, Mount Vernon High School.
It's Noah Morgan.
Throughout his sophomore season, Noah Morgan was lauded for his amazing potential. And this winter, that potential was realized.
Morgan so tough on the inside.
The 6'4" junior proved to be one of the most versatile and dynamic players in Section 1. Morgan averaged over 15.5 points, 7.5 rebounds, and over 4 assists per game, helping Mount Vernon reach the Class AA championship game.
We got to learn that every time we go out there, every team is going to want to come at us because usually they not expected to win most of the time.
But it wasn't just about the numbers for Morgan. Along with teammate Marco Morenci, the underclassmen took on big roles in the Knights' locker room.
They're the two that I'm really talking about who have just decided, they're not captains, but they've just decided that they're going to lead. And everybody else is saying, okay, that's fine.
Following an early season loss to Spring Valley, the Knights faced a 9-point second quarter deficit at rival New Rochelle. Morgan stepped up with 19 points and 11 rebounds to help Mount Vernon to a season-defining comeback win.
Chance to tie or take the lead. Morgan drills a three.
After our last loss, we all came together as a team, told ourselves that, we got to get it together now. It's now or never.
The victory propelled Mount Vernon to a 9-game winning streak, and no player went on a better stretch this season than Morgan and the Knights when they traveled to Canada. He scored 78 points in the final 2 games of the Snowball Invitational, earning MVP honors. Morgan was at his best in league games, recording 24 points and 11 rebounds in a win over White Plains and registering 8 assists the next game against Scarsdale. Few players can fill a box score quite like Morgan. As great as the height guard was this season, the best might still be yet to come.
Matt Redhead, Fox Lane High School.
Fox Lane won the game that nobody thought they could win.
It's an upset for the ages. Fox Lane has defeated Mount Vernon.
At the center of the Fox's upset of Mount Vernon for the Section 1 title was Matt Redhead.
It's down to Olsen, up ahead Redhead. He'll slam it down.
Long before the 6'5" senior put the exclamation point in the victory, Redhead and the Foxes were thinking big things at the start of the season.
We're looking to go as far as everybody says. Some people think County Center, we're thinking bigger. So we're just going to have to keep working as a team, keep building on the team chemistry, and maybe we'll get there.
A true triple threat on the offensive end. Redhead could shoot, drive, and rebound.
Inside the flush, look out below. Matt Redhead.
He averaged 15 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 blocks per game as a senior, posing as one of the most difficult matchups for every team in Section 1. All of that after being diagnosed as a type 1 diabetic following last season, and losing 30 pounds. Matt Redhead came back in a big way this season, being the leader on a team that had 12 seniors and won 22 games.
Redhead on point from Robin.
While most expected Fox Lane to just be a contender this season, the Foxes impressed when they lost to Bishop Laughlin at the Slam Dunk Tournament, and it gave the team confidence it could make it back to the big stage.
We're still hungry because, the goal, like you said, the goal is to win here, and we only won one of the 2 games, but we're definitely hungry and we're confident with what we did here.
We're not done. We're not done here. We still have a lot to prove here in this tournament in the County Center.
He guided the Foxes past White Plains in the semifinals before an MVP effort against Mount Vernon in the championship.
Redhead corner, a 3.
Obviously the best team in the section. If you're going to win this section, you're going through them. And for us to come out here and get a big win against a big team, oh man, there's no feeling like it.
It was the lasting moment from a stellar varsity career. Redhead scored 1,000 career points and made history at Fox Lane with their first ever AA championship. Redhead is not only a success for his talent, but for his perseverance.
Marco Morency, Mount Vernon High School.
After bursting onto the scene as a sophomore, Marco Morency cemented himself among the elite players in the Tri-State in 2016. He used his freakish athleticism and relentless attitude on defense to lead Mount Vernon back to the Section 1 championship game for the 18th year in a row.
Numbers for Mount Vernon and the spike, Morency.
The 6'2" guard averaged 17.4 points per game this season, with 4.8 rebounds and 3.6 assists. There wasn't a spot on the floor where a defender was safe against Morency.
Morency answers.
And there's a guy who never lacks confidence, Marco Morency.
The Knights struggled out of the gates this season, but a trip to the barber shop prior to their game against New Rochelle in January might have been the key to Morency and Mount Vernon's second half run.
He had been critical of himself the last couple of games. So he said he was going to get a haircut. I'm not sure how much hair was cut, but there was a little difference.
Morency, dribble penetration, and hits.
We're going to come out hard, play every team like it's our last game. That's what we got to do. We came out sluggish the first couple games, but now we picked it back up. Hopefully, we'll continue the same way.
Mount Vernon went on to win their final 9 regular season games against Section 1 competition, and the Knights competed against the highest levels in the SNY Invitational, where Morency scored a team-high 21 points against Brentwood. A flat-out scorer who came into his own this season as a perimeter shooter, he scored in double figures in 21 of 23 games, dropping 27 points in a win over Scarsdale. It was his defense, though, that set the tone for the Knights this season. Morency consistently drew the toughest assignment and always delivered, highlighted by an 8-steal effort against Saunders in the Section 1 semifinals.
Morency on the leak out, slams it.
With Morency back next year, Mount Vernon is the favorite to return to the top of Section 1 and possibly New York State.
Derek Felder, Saunders High School.
Some players can make a team great. Only the elite can revolutionize an entire program. Derek Felder arrived on the Saunders varsity 4 years ago with tremendous potential. Over the past 2 seasons, he solidified himself among the top players to come out of the city of Yonkers in 3 decades. And in the process, he not only became the city's best player, but 2016's Mr. Basketball.
You know, when you have a kid like that you can put the ball in his hand and he's pretty much going to score the basket, it just changes everything that you do.
Many have tried, but Felder officially put Yonkers basketball back on the map. 2 city championships, 30 straight wins in Yonkers, 2 trips to the county center, and now the Mr. Basketball award. Felder led the Blue Devils in almost every offensive category in his 4 seasons and is on the short list of the best defenders in Section 1. His cool demeanor on the court can only fool defenders for so long. Felder's speed, ball handling, and Gumby-like athleticism was something to marvel at.
Felder the other way after the steal. No slowing him down. Underhanded scoop.
He averaged 19.1 points, 8 rebounds, and nearly 4 steals and 3 assists per game as a senior, breaking the school's scoring record along the way. Saunders lost early season games to Mount Vernon, Poughkeepsie, and Spring Valley, but a season-changing win over Fox Lane gave the Blue Devils back their swag.
Felder looks to run. 1-on-2. Slicing to the basket. Blocking foul. Counted and 1.
Despite nearly missing the game with an illness, Felder scored all 10 of his points in the 3rd quarter, dizzying the Foxes with his speed and athleticism.
Well, we took them losses and we had to bring them into practice. So we had a lot of momentum with them losses. We thought we was going to win, but Mount Vernon and Spring Valley was good teams. But we had to prepare for them since they was ranked better than us.
Felder again stepped up his game in the playoffs, leading the team with 23 points and 10 rebounds in an opening round win over Arlington. In the quarterfinals, Saunders trailed Ossining by 9 points with 4 minutes to play. But Felder, along with Anthony Miller, propelled the team to a remarkable overtime win and a 2nd consecutive berth at the county center.
Everybody was here to come from Yonkers to support us. My best friend DJ, that I grew up with, he just pulled through.
Saunders won 58 games in Felder's time in the program. He will continue his career across the county at Concordia College, but his legacy in Yonkers won't soon be forgotten.